Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, the transfer market at the moment is hotter than the sun. You wake up every morning with a whole host of new players being linked with Manchester United. And to be honest, this is nothing new for Manchester United fans. This time of the year, it's completely normal, happens every year, and then these targets don't end up coming to Manchester United. But this year, there's something special up in there because we have got these new owners, and just because the kind of players that we've been linked to, it's a little bit different from the previous years. These targets are actually attainable. These players are available on the market. Their clubs have put them up for sale. They are at the right sort of age for Manchester United. These are the players that we genuinely need to rebuild our squad. And there's nothing to suggest that we won't get them because these links are coming from very, very credible journalists. So we have to talk about them. We have to take it very seriously. And that's what we are doing in today's video. In fact, going forward as well, I'll be trying my best to limit my videos to only those players who are the most serious targets and most heavily linked to Manchester United. So my previous video that I did a week ago was about Joshua Zirkzee, who's ended up at Manchester United. We've got the Here We Go today from Fabrizio Romano. If you haven't watched that one, please make sure you go and watch that video. I'll share the link in the description section. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the second most heavily linked player with Manchester United. That's none other than Matthijs de Ligt. Guys, what makes this player so special? And why is he being linked with Manchester United so heavily? What does he bring to the table? His strengths, his weaknesses. We're going to be talking everything in detail about this guy today, and we're going to be comparing him with some of the other targets in the market, the Leny Yoros, the Branthwaites, the Gahys and whatnot. How does he compare with those other players? Is he a better option? Is he not? Stay tuned and you'll find out towards the end of this video. So guys, let's talk about his profile first. Obviously, he's a Dutch international, comes from Holland, started playing for the Ajax Academy at a very young age. He was just 9 years old when he joined the academy. He was always ahead of his years. So he was 12 years old, he was playing for the under 16s. When he was 14 years old, he was playing for the under 18s. And eventually when he was 16 years old, he got a chance to play for the Ajax first team. A huge accomplishment, a huge achievement for any 16-year-old because Ajax have a proper system. They have the best academy pretty much in the entire Europe. A whole list of players have basically come out of this academy and become global stars. So, you know, coming out of that system and making your bow into the first 11s at such a young age was indeed a special achievement. And then it didn't stop there. He went from strength to strength. At the age of 18 years, he was playing against Manchester United in the Europa League final. Then he became the captain of the first team at the age of 19. And it's not like, you know, there were no other options available. Ajax at that time had Tadic playing in their first 11. They had Huntelaar playing in their first 11. Even DeLigt was playing in their first 11. He had captained, even the Dutch national side. Yet, ahead of him, Matthijs de Ligt was trusted. He was made the captain. And guys, he broke several records at that young age. So he became the youngest ever captain for Ajax. He became the second youngest player since 1931 to play for the Dutch national team. And at the age of 19, he led that Ajax team to a league double, and they managed to qualify for the semi-final of the Champions League. And not only he became the youngest player ever in the history of the Champions League to play in a knockout to captain in a knockout round, but he also scored in the quarterfinal against Juventus and knocked them out and secured that berth for Ajax in the semi-final. He is the only and the very first defender ever in the history of Eredivisie to be nominated the Golden Boy. So he pretty much had the world under his feet at that young age of 19, captaining his club, taking them to the Champions League semi-final, playing the Europa League final, winning the league double. And that led pretty much every big club in the world running after his signature at that time. And Manchester United was one of those clubs heavily interested in bringing de Ligt to Manchester United. But de Ligt made the choice to go to Juventus, who ended up paying 85 million euros for him to Ajax. At that time, a very, very hefty sum of money that was paid by Juventus for de Ligt. I always doubted the idea for de Ligt to go to Serie A because Serie A is a very different league. The style of play is very different. Speed of the game doesn't match with Eredivisie. Style of play doesn't match. And on top of everything, Juventus had some very, very established centre backs at that time. You're talking about the Bonucci's and the Chiellinis who were playing for Juventus first 11 at that time. So it was always going to be tricky, and it was always going to be hard for DeLigt to go and establish himself as the first choice centre back for Juventus. And he didn't find it too easy, to be honest. Juventus did manage to win the league in his first year. Then they won the cup in the second year as well. He got decent number of appearances. I think he represented Juventus in about 65 matches in three in 3 seasons. Towards the end of his time in Juventus in his third year, he got a very, very serious shoulder injury, missed pretty much half the season. So his minutes were restricted. He lost his place in the first 11, and he was eventually sold to Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich again cashed in on him, saw it as a great opportunity in the market, paid a decent amount of money for him. So they ended up paying, I think, 67 million euros with 10 million additional add-ons. So it was about a package of 77 million euros that Bayern paid for him. Bayern paid for the league, and then obviously he went on to Germany. Again, in the very first season, Bayern Munich won the league, Bundesliga, and he established himself in the Bundesliga. His minutes were always restricted because of injuries sometimes. So when a player has injuries, it's always difficult to make a comeback, establish himself. And then there were so many changes at the board level for Bayern going on. Constant changes of management didn't help DeLigt as well. They had competition in that defensive position as well. There was Kim Min-jae, there was a Upamecano, there was Alaba back in the day. So it wasn't easy to sort of come back from an injury and knock these players out of the team. In 22-23, he had a series of knee ligament injuries, which made it very, very difficult for him. And Thomas Tuchel at that time put him on the bench. But, however, he got rid of those injuries. He came back strong towards the last half of the season. He regained his first team spot. He was playing alongside Dier in the center of that defense. And when he's fit, he is like a complete defender. He's got experience, he's got maturity, he's got very few weaknesses. He's technically astute. He's very, very established, experienced. He's not faced by the occasions. He's got that top level experience. So you can't really keep him out of the team for too long, put it this way. And Bayern Munich fans are actually huge admirers of this guy. So now, again, there's a change in management. Vincent Kompany has taken charge of Bayern. He doesn't fancy DeLigt in his team. He's got plans to bring Jonathan Tah from Dortmund, from Leverkusen into the Bayern team. So he's put DeLigt up for sale. But the Bayern Munich fans don't seem to agree. There's a petition going on where about 70,000 people, as far as I checked last time around, have already signed that petition not to sell DeLigt this year. But it's good for Manchester United that he's available on the market. He's got a great relationship with Erik ten Hag, the coach of Manchester United. Erik ten Hag was the manager of the Ajax team when he made DeLigt captain at the age of 19. So DeLigt has been openly crediting Ten Hag as one of the most influential figures in his career, through which, with the help of these figures, he's achieved to be where he is at the moment. So there's a great relationship between the two. Erik ten Hag wants him. DeLigt wants to come to United. All sorts of sources are confirming that DeLigt is only negotiating with Manchester United. He's already pretty much agreed personal terms. It's only a matter of time before Manchester United can cough up the 50 million euros that Bayern Munich need and get this deal over the line. Let's talk about his profile in further details. Let's look at some of the positives and negatives of his game. So one of the positives is his strength. I'm talking about the body strength here. He is almost 6'2", very well built, strong guy. So he uses his strength to great effect. He positions his body very, very well, makes it impossible for strikers to nudge him off the ball. So I see this as a major positive in his game, especially when you talk about Premier League, where you need physical players. He is one hell of a physical player. He is very, very dominant. He looks like a defender and he defends like a defender. Then technical ability, as we discussed earlier, he comes from Ajax, and pretty much anyone coming out of Ajax is technically astute, because they just engrave it in you from the very early on in your career. They build this, they coach it into their players. So as far as technical ability is concerned, he's a good passer from the back. He's always comfortable on the ball. He is never rushed. He always seems to have that extra few seconds, and he's very, very confident with his defending and with his passing. Other than that, you can talk about his leadership skills. Of course, he's led Ajax when he was 18, 19. I keep repeating the same. So there is no question mark about his leadership abilities. He is a born leader, and he will bring this to Manchester United. And Manchester United going forward will have a serious prospect for captaincy in the form of this guy. Not only in terms of captaincy, but just what he brings to the table is the sort of leadership from the back, where he can organize the defense, he can organize the midfield. There is this thing missing in the Manchester United back line, that everyone's like so quiet. Nobody is shouting, nobody is harassing these midfielders to sort of do the job. So this is the guy who will do the job. This is the sort of leader that we need in the back line. Then maturity. Again, maturity beyond the years. If you look at him, he's only 24 years of age, but what he's achieved in his career, the kind of clubs that he's played for, like he's played for the biggest club in Holland, he's played for the biggest club in Italy, he's played for the biggest club in Germany, and now he wants to come to the biggest club in England. So obviously he's got maturity beyond his years. Then aggression, again, it's linked with the leadership, which I was saying. He needs he knows when to be aggressive, at the right time. He's not overly aggressive. He's not a defender who will always go and get yellow cards and red cards, but he picks and chooses his moments of aggression. And with his big frame of his, when he comes into a tackle, he's very, very dominant, and he has that aura about him. He gets into the minds of the attackers that this guy is like aggressive, and we need to be wary of him, can't take him lightly. Then his marking is great as well. It's very hard to go past him in one-on-one situations. He's not the quickest, but he positions himself very nicely. You might have seen it against Real Madrid when he came up against Vinicius Jr. Vinicius found it very, very hard, to go past this guy. So he cannot be, someone who you can take on and easily go past. He is very, very smart. He uses his experience. He gets between the ball and the player, and he makes it very, very hard to go past him. Then his distribution, his passing completion rate is sitting at 96%, which is extremely, extremely good. Like, you can't expect anything better than that. He hardly ever misplaces a pass, and it's not that he's just passing sideways or passing back. He actually sprays the ball a fair bit. He relies on his long passes towards the wingers. He always tries to seek the opportunity to go forward. Again, since he's technically very, very good, he knows when to pass the ball at the right time to the right player when he gets that extra bit of space and can make something happen. So this is something that we are currently missing, because people don't realize that yes, Maguire passes the ball a lot sideways, but he's always passing in the wrong position. So rather than passing to Luke Shaw when he's going forward, he passes it to Luke Shaw so that he has to track back and take the ball. So that just destroys the whole momentum. Whereas DeLigt is very, very different. He passes it in the correct areas, and that leads to good attacks. Lastly, his positioning. I'm a fan of his positioning. He basically more like Martinez. He goes and attacks the ball. He doesn't let the the striker receive the ball and turn him. He gets very, very tight with the attacker and either wins the ball or makes a technical foul, and he doesn't let the striker go past him. So positioning is good as well. So you can see there are lots and lots of positives to talk about this guy. In terms of negatives, there's not too much, to be honest. The biggest issue is his fitness. That will be the biggest question mark, because he's 24 years of age. Manchester United are going in for him, paying a decent amount of money. The overall package is around about 50 million euros. And if he still continues to struggle with injuries by the time he's 28, 29, we won't be able to recoup much of this money. So fitness for me is the biggest concern, and I hope he can stay fit. If he stays fit, I have absolutely no doubt that he'll be a success. Other than that, people are talking about his speed. Yes, he is not the most speediest of defenders, but he covers that up with other attributes, and he's not as slow as Maguire. People keep comparing him with Maguire, but his recovery pace is much better than Maguire, and he's not caught out because of speed. He might not set it alight in terms of speed, but he doesn't get caught out either. So he's just okay in terms of speed. Offensive contribution, he does get goals with his head, but this is an area where he can sort of improve with the heavy frame that he has, with the height that he has. I think he can add more goals to his game. He just needs to time those jumps properly, and I'm pretty sure that he can add that as well. So this is the profile of Matthias de Ligt. Now let's just quickly compare him with the other options available. We've got Branthwaite, we've got Leny Yoro, and we've got DeLigt. These are the three major players that are being linked with us. And hopefully we can sign two of them, because we've got a shortage of centre backs. Varane has already left, so we do need two centre backs. Which two of these three should we target? So I've discussed DeLigt in detail. Let's talk about Branthwaite. Now this guy is 21 years of age, so obviously has the age on his side. He's got his best years ahead of him. He's Premier League proven, which is a big advantage. He's got 1 year in top flight English football, playing for Everton, had a very good season. He's predominantly left-footed, but can play on both right and left side of central defense, as well as the left back. So again, he's very flexible and covers multiple positions, which again is a strong point. Very tall, I think 6'3" tall. So he's got a big frame, and he's a very decent defender. The negatives with this guy. Negatives are that Everton are asking a ridiculous sum of money for him. They're going as high as £70 million to get this deal through the line, and this is basically ridiculous, because as good as he is, I don't rate him for more than 45-50 million pounds, and that's that's the highest that I'll pay for this guy. Plus I would pay some like 5-10 million in add-ons, but he's definitely not worth 70 million. Then he plays for Everton, which are a defensive-minded team, play a low block. That suits him. But he hasn't been tested playing for a team who likes to play higher up the field, play a high line. So that would be something where he might struggle. Also, one-on-one duels, his success rate is about 60%, which is not very high. If you talk about the elite defenders, it should definitely be above 70-75%. So that's an area of improvement as well. So overall, he's an all-right defender. I like him. I want him to join Manchester United. He wants to join Manchester United, which is a big plus. But I won't like if United are held to ransom by Everton. We should not be paying the United tax. We should not be paying the Premier League tax. We should not be going after a player who is basically not affordable for us. Let's talk about Leny Yoro. So he's a sensation. He's one of, if not the best young centre-back at the moment in the entire world. And no wonder all big teams are currently after his signature. Pretty much reminds me of DeLigt in his younger days. When he was 18-19, everyone was after him. It's the same for Leny Yoro at the moment, because you talk about Real Madrid, you talk about Liverpool, Manchester United, and a whole heap of other clubs want him. And why do they want him? He's only had one season with Lille, and already everyone's after him. What's so special about this guy? Number one, his positioning. The way he positions his body is absolutely top class. Makes it almost impossible for the strikers to go past him or to turn him. And even if they do manage to turn him, his recovery speed is so good that he hardly ever lets anyone go past him. Even his last-ditch tackles remind me of Aaron Wan-Bissaka's last-ditch tackles. Leny Yoro, now don't get confused, is a much better player than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but he has this last-ditch tackling ability, which Aaron Wan-Bissaka is so famous for as well. Then he's very tall. He almost wins every single duel. Very dominant in the air. If you talk about negatives, obviously still raw, still unproven at the top level. Hasn't played for a big club. He is a bit lanky, I would say. Going forward in the next few years, he can build up some muscle, become a little bit strong, because in especially leagues like Premier League, people would use their strength against him. He's tall, he uses his body well, but still he needs to build some muscle. So I'd see that as a little bit of a negative. Where do I rate him at the moment? a very, very bright prospect that can go on to become the next Varane, as many people say. But even if he continues into this trajectory, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, he would be where Matthias DeLigt is at this time. Because Leny Yoro right now is not ready. He can become anything. He can become a top player. But DeLigt at the moment is that top player. So it depends upon us. What do we need? Do we need a ready-made player, or do we need to go for someone who becomes that next big thing 3, 4 years down the line? Another negative for Leny Yoro is that he doesn't want to come to Manchester United. His preference is Real Madrid. Now, some people would just draw the line here and say, okay, well, end of story. Let him go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't want to play for the badge, why do we bother? But then there is another group of thought, which I'm personally part of as well, who think that, what's the harm? If we get him for 40 million euros and give him, say, 2-3 years in our first team, give him a release clause of, say, 80-90 million. And if Real Madrid 3 years down the line are happy to trigger that clause, we get a good bonus on top of what we paid. And we get 3 years out of him. It's still better than not signing the player. So 3 years out of Leny Yoro will hopefully be great for Manchester United. So why not? Anyway, only time will tell if he agrees to come to United or if he wants to stay put. My selection out of these 3 would be, I would 100% go for DeLigt. Yes, I know the injury risks are always there, but the connection with Erik ten Hag, I think will work wonders. They work together. They know each and everything, about each other. The player wants to come. The fee is very affordable. They've got this Dutch contingent in the team, so he will settle straight in. He's the right-sided centre-back that we need. He'll be the perfect partner for Martinez. So there are so many positives. And he's an established player. He's the leader. He's not a kid. We are bringing an established centre-back that will be the leader of this defense. So I'll 100% go for him as my top pick. At number 2, I'll probably go for Leny Yoro just because of the ceiling. His ceiling is too high. And since he's in the last year of his contract, he is available for a much cheaper price. There are reports that Manchester United's 45 or 42 million pounds bid has already been accepted by Lille. So if that's the case, much more affordable than someone like a Branthwaite. So 100% I'll go for him. I just generally rate him as a better defender than Branthwaite anyway. So if we can get these 2, DeLigt and Yoro, those would be my top picks. Branthwaite would be the third choice. And he would only be a choice if he can be attainable for 50 million pounds plus maximum 5 to 10 million in add-ons. Anything over than that, I would not bother about him. I'll go for another defender, someone like a Mark Gahey, who I rate as a more accomplished defender than Branthwaite, and someone who can probably be a little bit cheaper than Branthwaite as well. Otherwise, there are heaps of other options available on the market. The centre-back market is hot. We can get defenders on a much cheaper price if we look at someone from outside of England. So I'd go down that road. Tell me if you agree with my suggestions, or if you do not, mention it in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon so you can receive the notifications as soon as I post the video. And until next time, ciao.